Good day, Hyperscale Forum. I'm doing my first YouTube video ever here. A couple of people on the Hyperscale Forums have asked me some questions about this brand new FineMolds kit that I bought. So I thought I'd go ahead and do a review here of it. Just want to let you know that this is my first video, so forgive me a little bit on the quality of this. I'm not a videographer, and I don't plan to invest a whole bunch of time and money into video equipment or anything like that, so this was just a relatively easy way to show off this kit. Also, I have no monetization of this video. I'm not sponsored by anyone that I reference or provide links to, and I'm just not expecting any fortune and glory from this video. This is not exactly an unboxing video because, as you can see, I've already unboxed it. This is really an early review, and even that I've started in on it before I decided to do this video, so there's some parts that are already off sprues and began. So it's not exactly a final review, it's not an unboxing, it's something in the middle. And some of the material that I reference as I talk throughout this video, I'll provide links for, but I believe there's only going to be a couple of them. So, one last disclaimer is I am not at all an F4 Phantom expert. There's many versions of the Phantom, and I'm vaguely familiar with them, but I don't know all the differences. So any errors that are made by me, I take full credit for, and please take it with a grain of salt if there's some discrepancies or problems. And often you'll hear me probably say Air Force or Navy version, and of course in the Navy version I mean the Naval Service version, which includes Marine Corps. So hoorah to all the Marines out there who are building the naval version of the F4. Alright, so with that, let's get into the video. This is the FineMolds 1/72 scale F4C Phantom. The kit number is FP46S. As the box states, this is the Air National Guard version of this kit. This kit was released by FineMolds on 23 August 2021. I pre-ordered it through HobbyLink Japan. It actually arrived in Michigan about 4 days after the release date, which was really nice, given that the overnight or near overnight shipping got it here pretty quickly. The kit has sold, and as of August 2021, the price for this kit is $32, not including shipping and handling. The kit arrived in a basic cardboard box from HobbyLink Japan, just about you'd expect. The kit itself was on a cardboard plate and was shrink wrapped over that plate. This preserved the box during shipping, so it wasn't the kit box. It wasn't rattling around during the shipping. Interesting is the kit had no shrink wrap around it like I would expect if I were to buy it in my local hobby shop, but that could be an artifact of the kit being shipped directly from the distributor. I'm not exactly sure. Or maybe that's just common for how FineMolds does it. Inside the box, it's a top opening box. The sprues were not individually bagged, but they were provided in bags and then a large bag over all of them. Be advised, there were a couple of very small parts that came loose from the sprue during shipping, and so they were floating around in the large bag. So just be advised when you open that large bag on your first opening, you may have very small parts floating around in there. As the kit states, there are two versions of the Air National Guard units here. Two Michigan Air National Guards and one Oregon National Guard, and actually the Oregon National Guard is the famous F4 Phantom with 3 kill marks earned during Vietnam. I expect these kits would be very similar across the other FineMolds F4 kits, but there are some items that I want to talk about that I think are different between the different kits. Again, I'm not an expert, so if there's any misspeaking, please take that with a grain of salt. I'll talk about the differences. That's actually what I want to focus on. I'll go through that in a few minutes. FineMolds has several detail up kits available. There's weapon sets, seat and seat belts, mirrors and such that are included so that you can provide upgrades to this kit made by FineMolds. The instructions are mostly in Japanese. There's enough English in here and images to understand what is required of the build, but be advised the majority of the instructions are in Japanese. As a matter of fact, this one item here took me a minute to understand. A fellow Hyperscale Forum member said that this isn't just don't use surface primer. The Japanese text actually says the rivets and the panel lines are very fine, and so if you use primer, use it very, very thin and apply light coatings because the panel lines are easily damaged. I really like how the instructions are laid out here, and it lends itself to the kit in that there's various hints along the way, and I like this one where at this point in the build you can take the suggestion of painting the aircraft at this, given that the additional parts that go on, particularly the tail cone section, are a different color, so that reduces the amount of masking and simplifies painting operations. Note that there's this icon that states option. Most kits say that that's an option included in the kit. In this one, though, that means an option for this level up or detail up kit is available, not something that's included in this kit. Additionally, in the instructions, the instructions include decal application to the aircraft, separate from the painting guide, which helps you identify what decals go where without confusing them. A lot of kits put that all on one page, and sometimes you have to do a little bit of figuring out, is this a decal or is this a paint mark? So overall, I like the way that the instructions are laid out, and so the decal application looks pretty straightforward. Another thing about decals that I noticed, and I'm pleased about, is that a lot of the stencils are included as a single decal, so, or multiple stencils on a single decal. So you see all these little stencil marks. Many of those are just one decal, so it minimizes how many tiny decals you have to apply and trying to line them up relative to one another. So that was a nice to have on the decals. I just want to give a high-level overview of the F4 variants that I'm aware of. FineMolds has released several versions of long-nose F4 Phantoms of various nationalities, primarily Japanese and US, I believe. The long-nose Phantoms were the ones armed with the M61 Vulcan cannon. That was not originally a part of the aircraft design. The cannon was actually excluded from the early Air Force versions, what I call the short nose, had no gun in the nose, and all of the Navy and Marine Corps versions were short nose. They never had the gun installed. I'm primarily going to limit this discussion to this F4C kit, but FineMolds has also released F4B and F4J kits recently, and so I'm going to specifically look at the different versions that I can see, because many of the kits are included here. Overall, this kit has been really amazing to start. I've been so pleased with it. Even before I started building, I was very impressed. I've not built a kit before that is this well engineered. So I feel like of the F4s, when fine scale modeler Paul Boyer said that this is the best F4 kit in this scale, I completely believe him. And so I want to point out some of the different parts, particularly the ones that are included with this kit, because I believe those should be applicable to other FineMolds F4 variants. For example, the wing from the set includes bulges on the upper wing surface. I believe this is what's called the thick wing phantoms. I'm not 100% sure on that. I believe shortly after production started, they went to this bulge to accommodate larger wheels in the aircraft. But if there's other versions that don't have this bulge, those parts are not included. They're in this kit. The large bulged thick wing is. The fuselage is one piece, or the rear fuselage is one piece, which means you don't have that large seam that goes down the center line. And there's a panel that is installed in the top of the kit. I believe for the Air Force version it has this refueling port. I suppose the Navy version would have some other different spine that goes onto the same fuselage. Additionally, there are panels at the front, the rear and the front of the forward fuselage. These, I believe, are Air Force specific, and there may be different versions for the Navy kit, although only these versions, presumably the Air Force parts, are included in this kit. Clear parts included in this kit. Interesting that you've got the canopies separate. You've got a one-piece canopy for both of the pilot and the rear seater, and then a two-piece of the same for the option of canopies open or closed, which I like, such that you don't have to deal with trying to piece together clear parts if you're doing the closed canopy version. Again, the differences between the Navy or some of the Navy versions and the Air Force version. This kit includes both nose cone radomes. One has the slot for the sensor that goes underneath, and one is completely enclosed, presumably for the B version, but please correct me if I'm wrong on that. The tail does not include the trailing radar warning receiver, as seen on most versions of the F4. I believe the early B did not have this, but there is a separate part for installing it. So I believe that you can leave that off for the versions that do not have that sensor, but it is included in this version of the kit, so you can add it as a separate part, which simplifies it if it's not on the version that you're building. Also, on the F4N, or maybe other versions, I'm not entirely sure, there's this fairing on the leading edge of the tip of the tail. That's not included in the kit, nor have I come across a part that would be fitted. So if this is a part that you're looking for, it's not in this F4C kit. Also interesting is that these two parts here are included in the kit, which I believe are this pod, or this fairing right here. I think that's electronic countermeasure jamming pod. So they're not included on this. They're only, I believe that's only a Navy and Marine Corps component of the aircraft, but the parts are included in this kit, but are not used. Moving on to external stores, there's 2 wing tanks included with this kit, and then 2 different centerline tanks. There's one that is unused. This may have been an older version of the tank, and then a second one that is used in this kit, which I believe was a tank that was compatible with the F-15. So that's the one that this kit calls to install, but it does include this other one. The wing pylons, I believe the Air Force and Navy versions are different. I believe the Navy's were slanted and angular, where the Air Force ones are rounded like this, and only the rounded ones are included in this kit. However, on the Sidewinder rails that are attached to that pylon, there's two versions included here, and the best I can tell, one is shorter than the other, and the longer one is used on this kit, but a shorter version is included. A couple other unused parts are the parachute tail cone cover. There's 3 versions and 2 are not used, with one has bumps and the other looks like it has indents of some sort. And then these, I believe, go under the forward part of the wing, but I'm not entirely sure where they go because they're unused. They're not marked in the kit. This kit is called a first release or first edition release, and it includes a set of pilots made by Tamiya, I believe they're called. And I'm really pleased about that. I like planes with actual aircrew in them. I've already assembled the pilots and installed them into the cockpit. Probably not going to do them justice, but there's my crew inside my aircraft. And speaking of crew in the aircraft, the cockpit provides panels that you can decal so they're flat, as well as panels that you can apply your own paint and detail on your own. I do planes with the canopy closed, so it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to spend a lot of time on the cockpit parts. So in summary, I'm very pleased with this kit. This is amazing. The price for me, including very rapid shipping, was $65. And given that I was doing this specific Michigan Air National Guard, and I wanted the plot pilots for the display that I'm going to do, those 2 items alone probably would have, plus another kit, would have cost me more than $65. So those things were a pretty good value to me, even though I would say $65 is generally expensive for a kit. But that aside, this kit is so well engineered and so well designed that I would probably end up spending the $65 and being pleased about it for any future builds. I'll definitely be going back to FineMolds. So thanks, Hyperscale. Thanks for all the help from everybody who's been out there and given me hints and comments. I hope this video helps you determine if the FineMolds kit is for you. You can reach out to me at Stevie J in the Hyperscale forum, which I'll link below. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.